Well, good afternoon, everybody. Rolly Hoyt here with you. McKalen is on assignment and now at noon. The power grid operator supplying Arkansas putting plants on alert as things heat up across the state. Plus, new details about the mass shooting on the 4th of July parade in Highland Park, Illinois. We'll have more on the investigation and how neighbors stepped in to help the victims. And a new study suggests children today are heavier than they were in the last decade. We'll take a closer look at these findings. And a Facebook post going around social media is giving travelers 19 flying tips. This afternoon, we're looking at about one and about who gets bumped first from an oversold flight. But first, we've got to talk about the weather and this heat. Nathan, Scott, you were just telling me the nasty details about the temperature that we've already reached before we even got to the afternoon.
Rolly, it's going to be a scorching summer day around central Arkansas. We've got heat advisories and also excessive heat warnings in effect. That excessive heat warning in effect for you folks in Jackson County, Woodruff County, Independence County, also including into Lawrence County. And that's because with the hot temperatures and the humidity, the heat index for those counties in the pink could be as high as 110 to 115. Look at the numbers already. Ladies and gentlemen, it's only noon and we're already at 96 in the capital city, 95 in Clinton, 92 in Arkadelphia. There are a few of those puffy cumulus clouds starting to develop. But with that humidity, it already feels like 105 in Little Rock, Conway. It feels like 108 in Searcy, and it feels like 105 in Stuttgart. The good news is we do have at least a little bit of a light breeze out there because that will help with the evaporation of your sweat, keeping you a little bit cooler. On radar, there's no cooling showers or storms developing just yet. But I can't rule out there could be a stray shower. Most locations will stay dry out there through the course of the day. Everybody's going to flirt with 100 degrees across central Arkansas. And this trend, it's going to stick around through the work week. There is a frontal boundary headed in our direction in my extended forecast, and I'll have more on that coming up.
Well, with extreme heat in the forecast this week, it's got more concern for the power grid. Last night, a hot weather alert declared by the power grid operator that supplies Arkansas. MISO issues what called a conservative operations declaration, where they order power plants to review their outage plans to see if they can postpone any maintenance or testing procedures. And a reminder that North Little Rock is once again opening its cooling center at their community center, North Little Rock Community Center, located at 2700 Willow Street near North Little Rock High. Pets are allowed, and there are vending machines there if you need to get a snack. It's open from 10 until 6 through this Friday. Well, we're learning more about a 4th of July homicide at a Little Rock apartment complex. Police responding to a shooting at the Big Country Chateau Apartments on Colonel Glen Road yesterday afternoon. There, they found Titus Moton in the courtyard. He later died from a gunshot wound. Officers found another victim near the entrance of that complex who had to be taken to the hospital for treatment. Investigators are now looking for the person you see on your screen in relation to these shootings. Police are asking anyone who knows who this is or where he may be to contact them. We're waiting to learn more about the teen who disappeared at Greers Ferry Lake yesterday. Crews spent yesterday afternoon and evening looking for a person 17 years old who was feared to have drowned. We have reached out to the Cleburne County Sheriff's Office up there. They are expecting to release new information later today, so stick with us here on THV11 and THV11.com as we get those updates. All right, police in a northern Chicago suburb are trying to determine a motive for the gunfire unleashed on a crowd of spectators at a July 4th parade. Bradley Blackburn has the latest from Highland Park, Illinois.
Crowds celebrating America's freedom instead confronted terror at the Highland Park 4th of July parade. Monday, a gunman perched on a rooftop killed 6 people and wounded more than 24 others. Revelers tried to hide or flee, leaving behind lawn chairs and lollipops.
You feel like you're just going to get shot when you're running away, and it's just horrible to see all that terror.
The shooting was very rapid and seemed to be a lot of it.
Anesthesiologist Wendy Rush was at the parade. She says she helped one of the victims who later died.
At the hospital, I've had deaths on the table. I've had, I've seen death, and at least I can understand that. I know why it happened. But here I can't understand just the senseless taking of a life.
Police arrested 21-year-old Robert Cremo III, described as a person of interest. Authorities say Cremo posted violent videos and imagery on social media.
This individual is believed to have been responsible for what happened.
Police recovered the rifle allegedly used in the attack. Like the mass shootings in Uvalde and Buffalo, the mayor here says this weapon was legally obtained.
We need to have a very real national conversation about why we're okay with allowing weapons of war on our streets.
Highland Park Mayor Nancy Rotering led yesterday's parade. She also has a past connection to Cremo.
I was his Cub Scout pack leader. He was a little boy at the time. I'm not sure what happened to him to compel him to commit this kind of evil in his hometown.
The victims range in age from 8 to 85, including Nicholas Toledo, a grandfather visiting family, and Jackie Sundheim, who worked at a local synagogue. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, Highland Park, Illinois.
In Philadelphia, 2 police officers are recovering after being shot at a 4th of July concert and fireworks show there last night. Happened near the famous Philadelphia Museum of Art, where they have the Rocky statue. As people watched that show, videos posted on social media showed crowds flooding out of the area as fireworks continued off in the distance. Authorities say they are still investigating, but won't rest until they have somebody in custody. The city of Akron, Ohio, now under a state of emergency following the police killing of a 25-year-old black man there. Protesters believe the police body cam video released by authorities fails to explain why 8 officers opened fire on Jayland Walker more than 60 times. The police department says Walker fired around as he took off from officers trying to pull him over. Video shows him running from the car moments before officers then opened fire. He had no gun on him when they shot him, but police say they found a weapon in the car. Protesters are now demanding a federal investigation of the department in Akron and its culture and policies. We turn now to the war in Ukraine. This week, President Volodymyr Zelensky is vowing to retake areas captured by Russia. He says long-range weapons from the West, like the U.S. HIMARS rocket system, will help the country win back lost ground. But Russia is continuing to bombard civilian areas deep inside Ukrainian territory. Meanwhile, the wife of WNBA star Brittney Griner tells CBS News she will not be quiet anymore. The athlete is being detained in Russia and recently sent a letter to the White House pleading with the president to do all he can to bring her and other American detainees home. Michael George has more on the ongoing situation.
The wife of WNBA star Brittney Griner says it breaks her heart to hear the contents of a letter the basketball player wrote to President Biden. According to a representative, Griner, who was arrested in Russia in February on charges of possessing cannabis oil, wrote in part, "I'm terrified I might be here forever."
She doesn't say words like that lightly. That means she truly is terrified that she may never see us again. And, you know, I share those same sentiments.
Griner's trial began last week in Russia. The U.S. says she's being wrongfully detained. In her personal plea, Griner urged President Biden to free all U.S. captives, writing, quote, "I realize you're dealing with so much, but please don't forget about me and the other American detainees. Please do all you can to bring us home." In an interview on CBS Mornings, her wife Sherelle Griner says she's done letting the government handle things behind the scenes.
I will not be quiet anymore. I will find that balance of, harm versus help in pushing our government to do everything that's possible, because being quiet, they are not moving. They are not doing anything.
A National Security Council spokesperson tells CBS News the U.S. government continues to work aggressively, using every available means to bring her home. But Griner's wife is still waiting for a direct response from President Biden.
I still have not heard from him, and honestly, it's very disheartening.
In the letter, which was delivered on the 4th of July, Griner wrote, "Freedom means something completely different to her this year." Michael George, CBS News, New York.
And Griner's trial is set to resume on Thursday in Russia. Well, have you ever wondered who gets bumped first if no one on an oversold flight gives up their seat? We're going to verify that for you. That's still ahead. And Nathan?
We've got a toasty Tuesday on tap. Temperatures will soar to near 100 degrees, and get used to it, ladies and gentlemen, because this is going to be the story for the next several days. I'll let you know when we could see a little bit of relief coming up.